And so I'd be doing that for a while, and then I'd start to decline, and it'd be like, all right, so what can I improve now? Because like something's not right, I need to improve. So I'm taking more and more stuff out. And so by the time I got to the end of it, like there's nothing left to take out. Like there was nowhere else to go.
For a long time, you weren't eating meat, but you were eating chicken and fish. And then you made some dietary changes. So the beginning of your dietary journey, I guess.
You want the beginning?
Let's say 2009.
Bro, I don't remember years like that.
I don't know.
You know what? Like I can start at the beginning, like which is in my teenage years, because I had really bad acne, I guess. Sometimes it'd be like boils, man. So from a young age, I stopped eating like chocolate and sweet. So that was like my first step. This little 14-year-old is like, I don't eat sweets anymore. And then I guess age 18, a friend of mine was like, yeah, I'm lactose intolerant. So I was like, okay, let me give that a go. So I cut out milk. And then what I discovered was that like I'd been lactose intolerant my whole life. So like all these stomach pains and bubbling and all this stuff that was happening in my belly was just like years of lactose intolerant. But I thought that was normal. So it wasn't until I removed it that I realized like, oh, I could have been pain free all these years. And then I guess after that probably came like red meat or something. Which I heard was like, oh, it's bad for your health, saturated fats, cholesterol, cancer. And I was like, well, might as well get ahead of the game and cut it out. Something that came out real early was pork. I've just remembered, I can't eat pork. Pork used to actually make me feel ill. So that went real early. So then, yeah, that's after cutting out red meat, that's when I was eating just like pescatarian, basically chicken, fish. But even that was done so badly because it was just like tuna in cans and all these like poor commercial meats. But like as I was cutting stuff out, like I'm feeling better, and so I don't remember when that was exactly, but I think by 2012 maybe I decided to go like vegan and just cut out all the animal products. Actually, another thing within that was like I used to struggle to eat fats as well. So it's fried foods like fried eggs, or just like I just feel like, how would I describe it? Like I'd get tightness in my chest, and I was always just associated it with fat. And so like when I went vegan, I basically went like low fat vegan, and yeah, and then from there I was just cycling through all the different forms of veganism, or vegan style diets, should I say.
So wait, you said when you went vegan, was there a reason you went vegan?
Like I was always pursuing health, and so, and this is something that I did a lot in my childhood. So like, if you have all these people, this is why, like, you know, I think I'm gonna end up referring back to your question of what I'd tell my 18-year-old self, because I'd probably tell it to my 10-year-old self, and he'd have just used that knowledge much better. But like, so when you're growing up, you see all these older people who are like, so like dating people, like, yeah, it's fun to date lots of people, but eventually you're going to want to settle down and have family because that's what's really fulfilling. And so in my head, I'm like, why would I not listen to this? This is the destination. Why would I just not head straight there? Like, why do I need to run around all these ways? when I know where I'm gonna end up, because like it's consistently being said that this is the most self-fulfilling thing you can do in life. And I had a similar approach with diet. Like if you're saying that like a plant-based diet is the healthiest, and you know what, as you break down you're gonna end up switching to a plant-based diet and I'm like, well, I might as well get a jump on it and head straight there. Why do I, like, if I can go straight to the end, why do I need to run through all these winding paths unnecessarily? So yeah, it was always just pursuing better health. And I think I can look back now as well and say like, because like with the basketball thing I mentioned, like I had a lot of injuries for years, and I had a lot of how should I put it? I never know how to put it. I think I had like a lot of mental confusion as well. So like I was always trying to, like, either consciously or subconsciously, just like push towards a healthier lifestyle and sort out all these issues that even if I wasn't aware of them consciously, I'd be trying to resolve them subconsciously. So like when I first went vegan, I was probably just eating loads of not the best foods basically, which was always weird because like people would be like, oh, you're so healthy, and I'd be looking at what I'm eating like, nah, not really, like this can be better.
You know, like a lot of vegans I've seen and I've done it as well, during my brief vegan stint. I think with veganism you need to really, really plan out what you're eating. So people make the jump and then it's like you just binging on carbs, and so there's a lot of kind of food. I mean, chips are still vegan, right? And there's I know I've seen a few podcasts where people are like, yeah, I'm vegan, but I'm just eating chips. Like, and even, was it RZA? No. It was someone on RZA's podcast or something. He was saying, yeah, just eat chips, but it's like it's not sustainable. Because I think you're trying to look for something substantive, and then you end up eating junk.
Yeah, I think I was probably, like, to begin with, that's the thing, I was probably eating like pasta and rice and potatoes, but as things like, it was, again, looking back, I can see the cycle a lot more clearly, but within it I was aware of what was happening, but it still didn't kind of lead to a realization that I only had like a year ago. But like I'd make a switch and things would improve, and then I'd start declining. And like whether cognitively or physically or
make
whatever.
A switch being
like, so I'd go vegan, and however I was doing it,
yeah.
It's like I know I'm not doing the best version of veganism or whatever, of a plant-based diet or whatever. And so, but I've had improvements, so I keep going. And then like things would start, like I'd start not feeling well, like cognitively or physically or whatever. And then I'd be like, well, I need to up the level. So I'd like take stuff out. So I took gluten out, for instance, and now I'm eating gluten-free. All my pastas are now like, legume based. So I'm eating like lentil pasta, or maybe, what was the other one? Buckwheat. And so I'd be doing that for a while, and then I'd start to decline, and it'd be like, all right, so what can I improve now? Because like something's not right, I need to improve. So I'm taking more and more stuff out, and so by the time I got to the end of it, like there's nothing left to take out. Like there was nowhere else to go. But I wasn't noticing the pattern of like, I'm doing this healthy thing, but for some reason my health keeps getting worse. And it wasn't until like I guess I'll just say it wasn't until like I did a 21-day fast and I couldn't recover, and I was basically fruitarian. So like this is supposedly like peak veganism. And so I'm like, And when I'd see doctors about it, they'd be like, you're not getting enough calories. But I'm like, I'm eating like 2 kilograms of fruit a day. Like, I'm getting enough calories. I'm just not recovering. There wasn't any nutrition. There wasn't, like, my body wasn't using anything that was in there. And it was falling apart. Like, by the end of it, I got pretty close to death. But
So before we get into that, so fruitarian was kind of the last version of veganism you were doing.
yeah.
Okay, so we got the beginning where it was kind of like the standard. You removed meat, you removed chicken or what, fish or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like a standard vegan, maybe the first step of most vegans. So then what were the different, you said you were removing things. What were the different categories of veganisms you're trying?
I can't even remember, man. There's always something ready to be removed, man. Like, so I know gluten was one. Like, I went gluten free, and when I did that, I felt a lot better. What else did I take out? I can't even remember, man.
So is it
Just
like
so many variations?
So for most of your vegan life, were you high carb, low fat?
Yeah.
For the
Definitely.
more or less the whole time?
Not more or less the whole time. There was a point where I recognized that I needed more fat. Like I can't carry on without fat. But at that point, I started, because I guess that's another thing. So, like, because I was low fat for a long time, I didn't eat nuts. And what else wasn't I eating? Didn't touch coconut oil. Didn't touch any kinds of oils. Like, I'd fry food with water because,
that's
like,
a new one.
Huh?
That's a new one.
It can be done, but like because again, like I was saying, like I'd eat fats and I'd get like tightness in my chest, and I'm like, I can't keep eating this if I'm getting this reaction. So like plant fats were just no good. I guess another thing is I was removing processed foods as much as I could throughout the. I guess even before a little bit. So I was trying to move towards whole foods at some point. I guess there'd be times where so like when I was trying to move towards more whole foods, then I'd drop like pastas and stuff, and I'd be trying to. There's times where I was like eating whole grain rice, and then I'd read about like the phytates in the husk, and then now I'm back to white rice, and it was just like the nutritional information is just so conflicting and so confusing, and like I was always trying to find something optimal that left me feeling well and was trying to give me as much as I could. And I was always trying to eat vegetables, and then I'd be eating frozen vegetables, and then it's like these don't really feel like they've got anything in them, so I'm trying to eat fresh vegetables as much as I could. And then yeah, it's just always stuff like that. And then I'm trying to go organic because again I'm trying to improve, and then I'm learning about commercial farm practices and how they deplete like the nutrition in the food, and so it's